Justin just gave us the okay.
All right. Sean? Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. How about you?
Good.
If you would pray with me. God, we're so grateful for the beautiful weather that you've blessed us with today, and it reminds us of your providing hand. It also reminds us that through your own provision, you've given us the government that directs our affairs in this country, and we're so thankful for that. We ask that today, as they make decisions and as they have discussions, that they would do so and that it would be glorious to you and that it would propel our city forward and our county forward. And we ask these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. I call this meeting of Fayette County Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the pledge. Please rise. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin today. I'd like to ask everyone to make sure that their phones are silenced, please. We'll begin with the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
There's a motion made and seconded for the approval of the minutes. The only thing, Jane, that I found, and I wanted to question as far as discussion, let me bring it up here. There was one motion that was made.
I remember that. I caught that too. Is that the motion that I made?
On the grant for Judge Freed.
I think the minutes says that I made and seconded my own motion.
Well,
and I know that didn't happen.
it was the blanket,
Sneaky.
the blanket permission for the grants. I think we wanted that, a blanket permission on non-match money grants, didn't we?
Yeah, those were non-match grants.
Yeah.
The judge made that clear, and he was directed to work directly through Diana Wright.
Yeah.
Under all circumstances.
Where it says, Jane, you've got in here, allow blanket
drug
permission.
court?
Yeah, under drug court. Allow blanket permission of grant application through grant writer Diana Wright. I thought the intent was supposed to be that that permission was granted for any grants that didn't have match money, need match money. What was that our intent, or did I just dream that?
I mean, I said it right above that, you request legal permission to apply for grants as long as there was no requirement on the part of the county. But you're saying because that wasn't a part of the motion, or that was a part of the motion and I just didn't type it in there?
Well, he requested blanket permission to apply for available grants in future as long as there was no requirement on the part of the county. Okay. All right. I guess I must have skipped over that or didn't read that. Is that worded okay then? To cover ourselves?
I think we're covered there, it should be.
All right.
And the one I just remembered, Jane, was on down below that where I made the minutes say that I did make a motion, but I didn't second my own motion. That had slipped my mind until just now.
I'm sorry, where was that?
Yeah, I'm skimming through it.
I don't have my copy with me.
Yeah, I see it. It's the very last, the Bicentennial Committee. Commissioner Strong moved to allow it, and then Commissioner Strong seconded it.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch the tape and see who actually did what.
Yeah.
I think it was Mark Nobby that seconded the motion.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the minutes? All in favor of the motion to approve then with the change?
Yeah, I,
3 ayes. All right, we'll move on to department reports, and Michelle Dudley for Community Corrections with the grant extensions.
We did send in what was supposed to be the 1920 grants that were due on the 31st. All those were submitted. The very next day, they sent us an email that they're changing their fiscal year, which was July 1 through June 30. They're changing it to January 1 through December 31st. So they are awarding grant extensions for the current grant year that will run from July 1 to December 31st. They've just cut the amounts in half. Everything will be done the same. So our funding would be $534,912, and that is for community corrections, the court recidivism reduction program, jail treatment, probation, and prosecutor's diversion.
All of them combined?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm here to ask for permission to go ahead and get the extension and for Jane to sign it when it comes in electronically. You can ask for changes in your 100, 203, 400 series. Community Corrections is not asking for any changes. Jail treatment, no changes. Probation, no changes. Prosecutor diversion is asking to move some funds around to 2200 to the 100 series from the 200 series. And drug court is asking to move, I believe it's like 4,400 and some dollars from services and supplies into personnel. And I have a copy of each if you guys want a copy of what's being done, but we just need permission to go ahead and apply for that extension and for Jane to sign it when it gets to her electronically.
So, Michelle, the big increase that Judge Freed asked for with the drug court, he's not asking for it for this 6 months. He's going to wait until the new application goes
No,
in.
it's for the extension to move funds
But
from
he-
what was in this cycle to move some around to where they need them
Okay,
in 100s.
but he requested a big increase for the new application.
Right, that
but
will
he's-
now go into effect January 1.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You're correct.
But he's not asking them in this extension to add.
No, just to move some around.
Just to move some around.
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
well, the requested changes won't require any action on our part.
No.
I didn't think so. Okay. I'll move to approve the applications for the extension of these community corrections grants.
And allow Jane's signature on it.
Sure, yeah.
I'll second it.
There's a motion made and seconded that we approve the application for the extension on the, they're actually the DOC
Yes.
grants.
It's
And
ju-
allow Jane to sign the documents when they come in. Is there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. I heard that
I was slow
silently.
about.
Thank you, Michelle.
The only other thing I have is just to let you know that on February the 7th, the Department of Corrections auditors were here and did a fiscal audit on the jail treatment and community corrections for the 1819 grant that the one we just finished. And there were no findings on either one. Community corrections expended all of our funding, so there's no carryover that we need to reimburse to them. However, jail treatment, there was $5,359.46 that we did not spend. That will be sent back to DOC through the claims process. That's all I have. Jane, do you want a copy of the 6 month? That's everything.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Colin, do you have anything to go along with that? or
No, I was just here to.
Support?
Yep.
All right.
Support.
All right. All right, we'll move down to J.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I've been looking to upgrade some of the equipment down there. I found a rubber tire roller, self-propelled, up in Madison County, up there. It's up in Anderson. And they asked $28.5 for it, and I got them down to $22.5. I've got a picture of it here, if you want to look at it. The top paper is it, and the rest of them are all comparisons. So just one was found online on the computer on them.
So is this actually Madison County's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not Southeastern's.
No,
They don't have
Southeastern
it on-
found it for us.
Okay.
I put fillers in with them looking for one, because they're hard to find.
Yeah.
But I found a bunch of them online, but they're usually in places like Texas and stuff like that. I don't want to go to Texas.
And how much did you say?
Yeah, we're down to $22.5. They're going over it, making sure there's no problems with it, checking everything.
Southeastern is or
No, the-
Madison?
Madison is.
Okay.
They said they'd run through it real good.
I looked at this the other day when he was up in and
Yeah.
showing this, and the machine really looks, it doesn't show its age at all. Really
No, it's in good shape for
Yeah.
the amount of hours it's got. It's good
2012.
too.
2011.
2011.
2011. It's a lot better piece of equipment than that old pull type we've got.
You can move along a lot faster down the road. You don't have to go around, turn around, and come back
Yeah.
on your chip seal.
Yeah.
Just
forward
makes
and
more
backwards.
sense. Yeah.
And you said that you had funds
Yes.
already
I have funds.
allotted
Yeah.
in your budget.
I'll move to approve the purchase for the self-propelled roller.
I'll-
22.5.
22.5. I'll second your motion.
It's motion made and seconded that we approve the purchase of the BOMAG, is that how you pronounce
Yes,
it?
BOMAG, yes.
Self-propelled rubber tire roller for the highway. It's a 2011 model for $22,500. Purchased from Madison County Highway Department. Is there any other questions?
We're gonna expect a better job on that chip and seal now.
I understand they had some problems.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've already been checking into it.
all right.
I think I already got it figured out.
Any other questions? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Okay. And I looked at a small dump truck. It's a 2001, but it's only got 30,000 miles on it. It's a lease truck. It's got the bed that you let the tailgate down or you can let the sides down to work off it.
What's the price on this?
It was 16.5, we got him down to 14,250.
And it's on a local lot,
Yes,
isn't it?
on Clark's up there, yeah.
And you got the money in your budget?
Yes.
I'll move to approve the purchase of a small dump truck for $14,250.
And that is a bed like we don't have
We don't have one like that, no.
I can see where that would be
Come
very
in
useful.
That'd be a handy
With-
patching truck.
The side of the bed.
Patching, rear wrap or anything you put down on the sides, it's
Yeah.
easy, because you don't have to get crossways in the road.
Yeah. And a
So,
stainless steel bed.
does
Yeah.
that bed tilt?
No,
To the
no, it only
side?
tilts back one way.
Only
Be
one.
nice if I wanted to tilt both ways,
Yeah.
but,
You only find those on the railroads.
yeah.
I'll second the motion to purchase this truck.
Motion made and seconded that we purchase, give Jay the capabilities of purchasing 2001 Ford
F
dump truck.
450.
F-450 for $14,250 from Clark's here in town. Is there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
And I went over, and when we talked about a backhoe earlier, I went over and checked with Rush County on their track hole they had. They said it's nice, but there's a lot of places it can't get into. That's why they keep their backhoe around too, to use it along with it. They said they wish they had a grade all. I said, well, we got a grade all, but we need a backhoe or something to go along with it.
Okay.
But I've been looking and haven't found it. I can't find any used track hose at all. But I found quite a few backhoes, but I need to go look at them to see. They're from Indianapolis, so I'll get back with you on that. Let you know what I find.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Our chip box, they've got it, he's looking for a seal for it, but he's got everything else ready on it to go. So
Okay.
we should be able to get through the year with it. I'll cross my fingers anyway.
Where are we on Ziegler Road with the stop sign and?
We got the stop sign up,
And the
it's
rumble
working.
strips.
Put the rumble strip down. We couldn't find anybody to cut them, so I cut the glue downs through the sign company. They went down in two stages, and if they don't wake you up, I don't know what will, because they shake you pretty good when you come down through there.
Okay.
How many sections of strip did you put down?
I think he's got 4, I think. 4 sets of 3, I think it is.
From the
So,
top of the
yeah.
hill down, or?
Yeah, it starts up on the hill and comes down, and there's a gap between the intersection and it. So it kind of smooths back out.
Okay.
And as far as the guardrail, there's water lines and gas lines in there where he wants to put that guardrail. I can't see no way to drive any posts in there and put a guardrail in there,
Okay.
because there's too many lines.
Did you have them marked?
Yeah, we had them all checked. I had them check both sides when we went to put the sign up, so we had to check for that.
Does that mean you would have to get outside the right of way then for a guardrail, or?
You'd have to almost put it up next to his house to get away. Hopefully the lines will spread out once you get up there, but they're coming down the side of the road, and plus they turn and go into his property.
Yeah.
So, and plus there's a tree right there too.
Have you had that discussion with him? mean,
I haven't talked to him since I talked to him on the phone and told him we hadn't decided on a guardrail because I need to have it checked and see locate the road and see what's there and what ain't there.
Mhm.
So he understood that.
Well, why don't you have another conversation
Yeah.
with him now that you've got the markings and,
He may have to do like he said and put big rocks in there.
well, as long as they're out, not in our right of way.
Yeah. Yeah, we
I
don't
don't
need
want that
that.
liability.
Is there anything else?
Anything for Jay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, Greg,
Afternoon, gentlemen.
how are you, sir?
Good, how are you? The gate's up and working. Water fountain's in, and they're drinking.
They're drinking?
Yeah, so the only other thing I've been working on bids on the restoration of the annex building. I put one in your mailbox. I don't want to disclose the amount because I'm waiting on more bids.
Okay.
So just give it to you so you can look at it. And then when I get the other bids in, I'll come back and we'll go from there.
I haven't been to my mailbox today.
Did you,
Yeah.
do you think that's right in line, or?
There's a lot of work there. I mean, there's a lot of damage from that roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking he's close. I won't know until I see the other bids, but I'm thinking he's in the ballpark.
I wonder how much of that could be covered by our insurance?
I don't know, I need to talk to Brad and see if there's any that can. One thing on this, Orland was wanting a door, and that's what you see at the top of it. From the upstairs to the other side, there's only one way out, and that's down those stairs. He was wanting a door, and it's in there. I mean, we could take that off if you decide not to.
And where's that door go to?
Into his office.
No, I mean-
Into the back room, off the staircase, off the landing of the staircase.
But
Where the juvenile used to be, juvenile
Upstairs.
upstairs.
where the extension,
Right.
used
So
to.
they don't use those offices up there. And he says it's because there's only one way out, and that's true. I mean, you gotta come down the
but,
stairs.
but I checked with fire marshal's office,
Yeah.
and that's not a problem.
Yeah, yeah. But he was wanting a doorway right there on that landing, and that would go into his office and down the other stairs. So, but yes, I would check.
Is that a part of the original outside wall then?
I don't know, Gary. I don't know what's back there. I don't know.
I mean,
They covered up a lot of bars and pipe chases and
Yeah.
stuff like, because I don't know what's back there.
but I did check with fire marshal and inspectors, and we don't need another exit up there.
Yeah.
Never have needed it.
No, we never have. So, he mentioned it, and that's why it's in there, so.
And we could really, if they'd utilize that area, we could have that Sallyport area back for some other office space.
Yeah, because you got 2 offices down there and have 2 upstairs. You're right. You're right.
So,
Doesn't
but
matter.
you're holding off on
Yeah,
presenting
I want to
this
hold
until-
off on telling them the price until I get the other bids in.
Anything else
That's it.
for us? You got the coils repaired?
Coil's all done. All done and working.
Okay, replaced, done. Is all the work that you were doing here in the courthouse with the controls and everything, is that done?
Yeah, it's all done.
Okay.
I'm still, I mean, we're still adjusting, but I'll be adjusting the rest of the summer because from winter to summer, all the new controls and stuff will be,
Right.
we'll get them tweaked out.
Okay.
The only problem I'm having right now is the lower level, and of course, they're gonna be cold regardless, because that's where the cold air is gonna fall to. But we'll get it taken care of.
Bill, have you been able to have anyone come in and fix all the various plumbing issues over there?
Templeton was in today. He said probably Thursday and Friday, he'll start taking care of it, so we'll get that taken care of.
Good. I was over there yesterday and I never saw people get so excited about a water fountain.
It's jumping up and down,
That was
wasn't
the first
it?
one they ever saw.
Yep,
Very appreciative of that.
yep, yep.
Okay. So, you're gonna check with Brad
Yeah,
on
yeah, I'll give Brad,
possible
I'll give Brad a
insurance?
call.
Okay, all right,
As a matter of fact, if he got a chance or something, got some time, I'll have him come over and we'll walk it.
okay. And I don't,
Most of the
I don't know
damages-
if we've got that kind of coverage or not.
I don't
but
know. He'll know.
A lot of homeowners.
But everything was
do
thrown,
that.
most all the damage, well, not all of it, but most of it was from the roof.
Yeah.
So we're in the process right now of changing out ceiling tiles. We've got most of them changed out, so.
Okay, all right.
I had
Thank
to
you.
order, I had to special order those tiles, because they don't make them no more. And I can't change them out without changing the whole grid system, so it's just as broad as it is long.
What, they're a different size?
Well, they're, where these are separate,
2x2s?
yeah, well, these are split in the middle, but they're one piece, 1 4-foot piece, but they're split in the middle.
We got an invitation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's.
Anyway, I got 'em.
Douglas.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Bill, Becky, do you have anything for us
Yeah.
today?
Small structure proposals for you to look over. Proposals for the small structure, that one, and this one. Ooh, and the other one's on this back page for the other set. They're on the second page of the SJCA one.
You want to kind of explain through them and talk through them?
Yeah, I got two proposals for the small structures between 3 feet and 20 feet, and then also from 5 feet to 20 feet. And as you can see on the SJCA one on the back for the ones that are 5 feet and above, it's the 95,380, and then for all total is the 167,370. And then on the Jansen and Spawns, total for all of them is the 69.7. And on the, just the 5 and above is the 32.9. So you can see they're pretty, and it's all for the same, everything, you know, for the same work. And for GIS and everything else, so. So it looks like a, for the whole 410, pretty good bid.
Quite a difference. So, there are 400 and,
410 for the 3 foot
Total.
20. Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
It's hard to believe there's that many structures throughout the county.
I know.
No bigger than the county is.
Mhm.
Are you proposing that this to be paid out of the Cume Bridge?
Cume Bridge.
Okay.
Mhm.
Will you need to do an additional to do it, or do you have transfer capabilities, or?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that as far as,
Okay.
I mean, I could do additional if I need to.
If I recall, council last year didn't, I don't think we appropriated anything for this
No.
nature out of Cume Bridge. You'd have to get them to approve an additional for it.
Mhm.
So do you think it's incumbent on us to do all the structures, or just?
I would this time, and then with that price, I think it's
And our last inspection was?
2012,
27, that's what I was thinking.
7+ years. Like I said, you know, right now with our liabilities in the bridge fund, you know, we'll be okay for a couple of years until 90 starts hitting us. You know, and this is the time to get this done, because otherwise it's gonna be 5, 6 years out, and then you're into 13, 14 years, and a lot of stuff can happen in that.
Right. So this will be, this will be ready to lay another page on our GIS mapping as well? I mean, we can
Yeah, it'll be done.
overlay that. Okay.
Okay, when we first talked about this, the number bounced around, if I remember right, was about 100,000.
That was just a general, I mean,
General.
Yeah.
Leo's here if you'd like to, you have to ask him any questions.
Ballpark, it was 50
Yeah.
to 100. It
Okay.
was just ballpark.
Yeah.
So, after more consideration, you've got it down to 69,700 for everything.
We sharpened the pencil a little bit, but there's still enough money to get to work on.
Okay.
Basically about, on the average of $170 per structure. If that means anything.
Well, it's what he says here in his bid. Option 2, $175 each.
Yeah. So, what's our pleasure? Do we want to move forward and ask the council for an additional to cover it?
I know it needs to be done. I would worry more about the structures than I would the culverts. Jay, you usually don't fool with taking a look at these culverts until something happens, do you?
Well, when I last here, we tried to do it before the start of season, make sure we didn't have it, we had to replace right away. But I haven't had a chance to go out and look at all of them.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them to look at.
Yeah. I usually split up the crews and send a couple, 2 guys each direction. Tell them to take their flashlights and get down there and look inside of it. Because that'll tell you pretty quick.
we have time to advertise for an additional request, Ms. Jane, for the next meeting,
Yes.
for the next council meeting, if we decide today.
Yes.
You know, with what Jay and his crew is capable of doing on the culverts, we could shave this cost and just, by letting
The small structures.
let them do the small structures and you know, taking care of culverts is a lot easier than doing the small structures, I think.
What's option 2 consist of? 5 foot to 20 foot is what you're talking about,
Yeah.
instead of 3 foot to 5 foot. And leave out the 3 to 5 foot. 3 to 4 foot 11. You're saying do option 2
Just 3
and not
to 1.
option 1.
Option 2 is approximately 188 small structures, size from 5 feet to 20 feet.
And that's what you're proposing.
Well, in the interest of not spending money we don't have to, I'd say yes. The smaller structures like culverts,
Why did, and I'm just being dumb here, but why did we spend the money in the first place if we don't need to continue checking the 3 foot to 5 foot? I guess I'm asking you.
I think when Goldman was in there, he took care of the 3 foot and up culverts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he would buy the can, we'd put them in. But if that way, he knew what he had to order, that's the reason he did it that way.
I mean, as far as any, and I don't know, maybe this is an attorney question, but how liable are we from 5 foot down not having a written report on their conditions? Versus just going out and eyeballing things. I don't know. I guess my concern is if we spent the money once, why wouldn't we continue to spend and do all of the structures, liability-wise?
I mean, it's certainly not gonna, there's not a liability number, like a percentage I can.
Well,
But, yeah, it doesn't hurt to have documented, maintenance. But just because somebody's eyeballing it doesn't mean that's not, observations. I mean, just document it, you know. I'm assuming you keep decent records of ones you look at. If not, do that.
okay.
But there's not, it's a tough question, the fact that there's not really a liability number that I can give you. Certainly, it's better to be prudent on your maintenance and making sure that we're.
I guess a prime example, a perfect example, we talked about, there was a request to consider our new paved roads, striping our new paved roads, and the problem is, once you start, you've got to continue. Well, and the cost just gets astronomical. Well, is this the same issue? We've already started it, so does it open up a can of worms if we don't continue having a so-called professional documentation of our structures?
well, structures 5 feet and up, I think certainly deserve professional inspection.
And I don't disagree with that.
Anything below, I believe Jay
Yeah.
is professional enough.
We don't have to decide this very moment. If we want to take time to discuss it further with Bill and Jay, and this is the first time I've seen these, so absorbing it all is,
Either way, the council's got to appropriate the money,
Right.
right?
that's true.
Well, let them decide what they want to do with it, because if we ain't got the money, we don't have it. That's all there is to it.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Commissioners, I'll just add, our experience in doing this, the ones that we've always done, we've really never done anything less than 5 feet. And it's usually easier to do 5 foot up to 20. and let the lower ones go, because Jay can look, he can look at anything like that and determine whether it needs to be replaced.
The only difference between me doing it and him doing it, he'll take pictures of it, or I don't take pictures of it.
Start
Yeah,
putting
he's
cameras.
Right now, what I find, and we'll, if we need to replace it, we replace it.
We'll give them cameras.
Now, the last 4 of these counties, they all did, everything 5 feet to 1. They don't want to look at 10 foot.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that input.
I'm
And,
sure
and
Joe-
I don't have
Joe
a
will
problem
say the
moving
same
forward
thing.
with it.
Yeah, but you want to do the best way possible.
Yeah.
So if we can afford it,
No, I would just rather not hire work done that
we can do
the
that.
highway department is already doing on a fairly regular basis and can do.
I just, I think we need to make sure that we have that documentation that we are doing that.
I am working in Wells County right now, doing the very same thing. At least in Wells County, we're doing 3 foot up to 20 foot. So there is a lot of inconsistency from county to county.
Okay.
But that was their decision to start a 3 foot road to 20 foot.
Now, there are probably a few, I don't know how many concrete boxes, well, like that one in each place. It's less than 5 feet.
Yeah.
Should
It's
you
rock.
do anything under 5 feet that's concrete? Because we've got one out there on 75 North, it's under eating it.
Yeah.
And if we can get Great Road taken care of, thought one of those cans could be moved out there, it needs to be replaced because it's eating under it, and it was, had, I think, 3 to 5 years left, 7 years ago on the last inspection. But it's like 4.5 footer. So it wouldn't be on the 5, but it's a concrete, you know what I mean? Do we want to go less than 5 on any of the, I don't know how many there are, I've never really looked, but that is, you know, a concrete arch. I mean, I don't know how many's out there that would be under 5 feet that are concrete, not just metal cans.
Okay,
You know, do we want to go any of those below and just have a per price that he found, that we have, and add it on to this? I mean, you know what I mean? Because I don't know with the concrete ones, you guys aren't going to inspect, look at those.
Well, we look at them.
Yeah, but I
don't know
mean,
if they
yeah.
know what they're looking for.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
see no rust through on that.
Yeah, so you won't really know the, you know, anything under 5 feet that's concrete.
that's a point well made. I hadn't even thought about that. Perhaps maybe the language in this contract proposal should reflect that.
Or did you have in here like any one extra found, it would just be per, I mean, normally that's how they would do it, it's just per,
We would probably do it on our price per, in fact,
Yeah.
it's actually written so that we could adjust the number.
yeah, if you found 2 or 3 more of the 5 footers above that weren't there for some reason, or there's less, you know, it'd be per structure, per price. So if you added some, it would just be the same dollar amount. You know, without, you know,
Okay.
I don't know how many of those would be, I'd have looked at them, but that's one right there. That's just came up.
Well, if we let the highway department go ahead and do what they've been doing on culverts, that's money we won't have to spend, and we can use on a bridge project. Maybe we use that little extra money to fix the stuff that he finds.
Yeah, there you
know.
go.
You could also ask them if they can split it up over a couple of years too. I would say, no, not doing all one night.
Yeah, that's another possibility. Mark wants to know if there's any advantage to splitting this work up over the course of 2 seasons rather than doing it all in one season.
I don't know, I mean, the price still gonna be the same, I
The
mean,
price would be the same.
and then it would be not, I mean,
It's a little bit more of a bother, but it would be about the same.
Are you guys okay with letting the highway department continue inspection on the culverts?
The steel.
Yeah.
The steel.
Yeah,
culverts.
steel culverts.
But,
the
and
metal
then
one's
go
under
ahead
5 feet.
and do anything that's concrete from 3 feet up to 20?
Concrete, steel, 5 feet and up. think this says,
It says 5 feet and up, but he's talking about there's concrete structures under 5 feet. So how do we want to include those in the inspection as well? Any concrete structures
we probably
that
should, but
fall underneath the 5 foot?
the language in this proposal doesn't say that.
Right.
Let me defer to the county attorney. You got any suggestions on this? Should we have this language changed a little bit?
You're holding a document and I'm guessing what's in it.
Okay.
Well, give him one.
Yeah, we want the document to say exactly what we want it to say.
Sure.
This is, again, new to me today. I don't know if there's an urgency to this or not. Sounds like to me there are enough questions that it might make sense to table it, allow me to look at the agreement, get it on our plate for the next time.
I'll move the table for our next meeting.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to table the small structures till the next meeting. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
We'll have this straightened out by next meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Are you going to email these to Jane? Pardon? Are you going to email these to Jane?
I could.
Yeah. Unless you want me to keep those.
You can keep, I don't have, I got several copies.
Bill, I know you're new, but anything that they're gonna review is supposed to be by noon on Friday, so I can forward it to them so they would have time to look at it, and I've just never shared that, I apologize, but
Okay. Anything else, Bill?
No.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the quotes from both of you. Thank you. Is Michael back? Yeah. Michael?
I don't really have much of anything. We got the final computers out from that batch that we had 17 beginning of the year. The final ones are out. We're having some issues with Windows 10 updates where it's messing things up, but those are updates that are causing problems across the whole world. So we're kind of, since Windows 10 is new, we're still kind of in the learning curve a little bit, both of us, as far as how to fix those issues. And then just now for the culvert thing, I just looked up real quick. We can get like a 360-degree camera, anywhere from $100 to about $400, and just put it on a pole, and then Jay's guys can just put it down the culvert as they do it if they go that route. No, I said your guys. I didn't say you. You can just stand there with the whip and say, "Get that in there." So, you know, for $100 to $400, we could buy 2 or 3 of those, and then you could use that to document the culverts for the ones that they're not going to do if you go that route. So,
Okay.
other than that, I don't have much of anything else. So,
All right. Thanks, Michael.
Hey, can we go back to Bill Mackey for a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Could we go back to Bill Mackey for a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah, Bill.
Got a question.
Mark's got
Can we get that stop sign in Orange removed? We're by the new school.
I wouldn't know why not. You got to pass an ordinance to get rid of it. I mean, it's your roads. And
Is it, are you talking about,
The one that used to be there for the school.
just south of the school at the 4-way on, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people asking about it. Could we get
on the
rid of
main drag, 400 south?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because isn't there another stop sign to
Yeah,
the
just-
north of it?
Just, what, a block or so?
Yeah,
To the north as well, where the school was?
yeah.
Yeah.
But this one, like I said, it's on the main,
Yeah.
you know, no reason to
Can
be
you-
there anymore. I mean,
Can you put together the paperwork to repeal that
okay.
ordinance
Okay, I'll
on the
see what I
four-way
can do.
stop? Okay.
Thank you.
Was there anything else, Mark?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right. Any other department heads, or? We'll move on to mail. I did receive a quarterly report that was turned in to the state for the syringe program. I got copies.
I got a copy of it.
For anybody?
I got an email on it.
Okay, I didn't know whether you got an email or
No.
not. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that they are sending that quarterly report as it's supposed to be done. Fayette Regional is, hospital. How much longer that'll last, I don't know, but we'll take one day at a time.
Jane, you got a copy of that?
He just gave me.
And then, is there any other mail, Jim? Okay. Jeff, do you have anything for us today, or?
Duke Energy, we,
We'll do that.
okay,
Next, under old business.
very good. Then
If
I
that's
do
the-
not have anything other than that.
Okay, we'll move on to old business, and we'll let you speak towards that, or
Um,
what you found out, or?
I've had conversation with the parties, with their bond. I'm comfortable with moving forward. They have presented, Jane, did you print that?
Yes.
They have presented an agreement that would essentially allow them to pursue. I talked to Mr. Miller, who will be doing a lot of the work, and I think he maybe has already went around with the surveyor, is that correct? And then he is willing to go around with anyone. Makes sense for him to go around with Jay, in my opinion, to maybe be able to mark and let him know where they'll be boring at, so we kind of have a good vision of that anyway. And then, of course, you know, we've got to locate whenever we do any digging anyway. I don't see any issues with it. My recommendation would be to sign it and give the permission and get this going.
Okay. But we did decide that there wouldn't be any road cuts, that they'd be all bored. And I guess there was a question, although the fiber optic cable is going in for Duke's personal or company use currently, the option is to future use it as a trunk line as well, possibly, for public
As
use?
of today, that discussion is not privy to any discussion saying that, but
It's subject to
chances
change.
there.
Okay, all
It's
right.
like anything, it's an asset, and it's gonna be in the ground, so I can't say no, never.
Yeah, all right. I just wanted that on the record for some questions that's been brought to my attention.
Yeah, and so there was kind of a lapse in the way this project kicked off. They're supposed to be, our community relations folks, I have a meeting with them at the end of the month, with them and their management. They were supposed to be engaged from the beginning.
Mhm.
Our environmental health and safety group was supposed to kick that off and got delayed. So that should be, we're engaging the community relations folks, and then they should be more in tune with what's going on and try and help field any questions or requests that you might have going forward.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that.
And we've started north up near Newcastle, and just kind of, our environmental health and safety folks go out and do inspections on the crews and make sure that signage is properly in restoration and things are being handled properly. So they've already been inspected multiple times, and it's going well, so.
Okay.
We don't expect.
So you're
to
working
disrupt
from the
any-
north
Correct.
to Union County, right?
I got a question. On the Whitewater River Bridge across the Bowman, where a bypass, or how are you gonna get across the river? You go in the river, or you gonna attach it to the bridge?
Boring.
More in the river, okay, that was one concern. I was wondering, okay, good.
Yeah, we try and stay with bridge attachments, just.
All of them will be bored in any bridge. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I'm happy with it.
Is there a motion for signature?
I'll move that we approve the fiber optic project and its respects is spelled out in this agreement for Duke Energy to install fiber optic along the roads listed in this agreement through the county.
I'll second the motion.
This motion made and seconded that we approve this agreement with Duke Energy. Is there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Pass that down. We sign. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We apologize for the delay, but
Let the
we-
system work.
yeah, well, there was just some questions that wasn't answered early on, and we got those answers, and we appreciate that.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for working on that as well.
You need more than one of them, son?
Do you need 2 signature pages, or are you
I can
going to
just
just
make
make
a
copies?
copy.
Okay. All right. Other Old business, we have the issue of a permanent, naming a permanent highway director. What would be the pleasure?
I'll move to have Jay Hamlin assume the job again, if he's willing.
I hope he works out.
I don't know. We'll stick our neck out.
Yeah, big chance, okay. I guess I'll second that motion.
There's a motion made and seconded that we approve Jay Havlin as a permanent, or the highway director, take the interim.
This
Off
takes the interim designation
Off
off
of-
the back of his name.
Off the back of his, off the front of his name, or back of his name or something. Is there any other questions? Jay, are you happy with that, or?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Now, you're not gonna come up about May and say, you know what, it's fishing time.
No, I don't think so.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Congratulations, Jay.
Thank you.
Now, let's get busy and plan summer.
Lot to do.
Yeah, there is. Then we have the issue with the Purdue Extension contract. We promised Paul that we would give some consideration and some discussion on where we wanted to go with that contract. And I think, Jeff, you've looked over that contract and maybe having a legal opinion on that, maybe?
I think we should pursue it and continue with that, would be my advice.
How do we, I guess, some past history, and I don't know how much of it you received, but some of our questions was that the contract is very explicit how many educators that they would provide under that contract arrangement. And for the last 2.5 to 3 years running, they've failed to provide that minimum staffing. And I guess that was part of my question of why we should maybe pay the whole amount. I think we do need to enter into an agreement. I just question the dollar amount because of that. They've not tried to compensate us in any way for not providing that personnel. Am I speaking out of?
No.
I mean, that's been part of our concerns.
Yeah.
And that, and to be quite honest with you, that's primarily one of our only responsibilities with this contract and the running of the extension service is we sign a contract, and if services aren't provided as in the contract, we have to question it.
Of course. So I think the question is twofold. I think there are two issues. One, to know that we're not alone, we're not unique. I think Purdue's struggling to find extension officers everywhere. I mean, I think that's somewhere common, especially in this region. I think we've reached out to the regional director, and I think he has listened to our concerns. If I felt like we were not being listened to, I might feel differently. I do think that they are potentially moving towards different criteria, maybe to make it easier to find directors in this region. So that's kind of why I get the frustrations, and I get the lack of being fully compensated for what we're paying for.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, we're not getting what we're contracting to get. But I do think that's gonna get better in the future. I don't know whether we have a negotiation arm with them or not. These aren't really that they're not negotiating with each county these numbers. It's kind of, this is what it is for a two-person, county and those type of things. One thing we could do is maybe communicate with them about being refunded monies we've spent in the past.
Okay.
But to not sign the contract says we're not gonna have an extension office here. And I think that, that
Sends
does-
the wrong message.
I think it does. I think it does. Because I think they've worked with us, in a manner in which it makes me feel like they're genuinely trying, that they're trying to get it worked out, is the impression I'm getting. That's maybe less legal advice than social advice. You know, I do feel like they're trying to get it corrected. And I think they're very, very aware that the three of you find it to be a very big deal that we don't have what we've contracted to agree to over the last couple of years. So I think they are taking that very seriously.
If we, from a legal standpoint, if we were to agree to the terms of the contract, but only honored, say, 50% of the monies currently, and then later in the year, advise them that they can submit another claim, and if services have moved forward, can we, then we'll pay the rest of it? Would we be in violation of that current contract, or?
Well, they're not gonna hold us in violation of the contract when they're in violation of the contract as well. Right?
Well, that's the way I would
They're
look
gonna get
at
us
it.
in front of a judge and they're gonna say, whoa, 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 the county is violating this contract and we're violating as well, but they're violating it, right?
Mhm.
So that's one option.
I mean, at least we would show good faith by signing the contract.
Signing the
but-
contract and getting it correct.
But we're still gonna talk about getting reimbursed?
I don't know. See, there's a question to me on where that money goes. Does that go to the county's extension office and there's a budget to where they haven't had these expenditures and that money's sitting somewhere in an account? Which seems like to me it could be very likely. I mean, quite honestly, that might be the scenario. So there's all these monies sitting, because I don't think this is a profit thing necessarily, right? So
No.
they need the money to be able to give the office what it needs, what it's supposed to have, what's contracted out to give, right?
Yeah, but your person short though.
And if they're a person short, they're not spending
There
the
should
same
be-
salary. There
that
may very
fund
well
should
be an account.
Building.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah, just like our funds would, if our appropriations didn't get spent, then that fund would build. I
Yeah, but
mean,
where do we catch back up on it?
Well, and that's the question. And I don't think we're done with that communication.
Right.
Okay? I think the most important thing is to get that county, or to get that office running like we should, so it helps community,
You're
right?
saying be kind of open-minded about it.
Right, right. I'm not necessarily in a hurry to rush reimbursement checks to them, if that's the question in front of me.
if we were to approve the contract and possibly with the stipulation that we pay half of it now, and as the plan is put out with, that Paul's planning on presenting to us, that to get this back up and rolling, then by maybe September, we pay the other half, or something like that.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to cheat Purdue for any service that they provide, but at the same time,
I don't want to kill them.
I don't like being in the position of paying for services
Not
that
rendered.
we don't get.
That we don't get.
So there's where the language of the contract doesn't give us that leverage.
Right, but the language of the contract doesn't give them the leverage to not provide us with two people either, right?
But they're doing it.
I understand. So I don't think there's an issue with us not just signing the contract, agreeing to it, once the contract is being fulfilled by both sides, paying for it full side. Does that make sense?
Because this contract's passed.
Right. When's the contract, when's the terms? Are they the beginning of the year?
Yes, that's for January through December of this year.
Okay, so we've not paid them anything for
This year.
4 months, right?
They typically invoice in April, so we actually just got that invoice a couple of weeks ago.
And they're having expenditures, because even though we don't have any directors now, we did have a director, we did have staff that's being
We
paid
had
for.
one person, you're supposed to have two.
Right, but we also have 2 staff members, there's 2 other people working down there, right? Is there 2?
Well, they're county.
They're county
One
employees?
is county, the other one is through Purdue, the program assistant.
So maybe we hesitate, or maybe we sign the agreement, as a gesture of good faith that we want to have a working relationship with Purdue. Maybe we get the claim in April, and we wait until we see how they're going to do as far as getting us a person, at least one director in there.
Or at least we could wait on Paul's.
Right.
I think he's, when did he say? Next week or to present a plan or?
Well, he said he would talk to you later in the week.
Later in this week?
This week.
Yeah. He's trying to put, I guess from the conversation I listened to yesterday, phone conversation, he and his staff is trying to put together a plan on how to remedy this issue on a quick and short-term basis.
And here's my concern, and here's the very real argument, is that we don't sign the contract and Purdue Extension goes, okay? And maybe that's what we want, because they haven't lived up to their contract, maybe that's what we want. I think that'd be harmful to the community, I do. But that's one option. Option two would be to sign this agreement and delay our payments until we find out what they're doing on our end. And I think that gives us, because see, that allows us to work with Paul and say, we want to be contracted with Purdue, but we want to have the things working the way we want them to. If we don't sign the contract, pretty soon that we're going to get the language of, we can't do anything with you guys because we don't even have a contract. Because at some point, there's somebody above Paul that's going to say, you guys stop talking to Fayette County, we got to pull everything out of there, we don't even have a contract to do anything there. You see what I'm saying?
I see that point.
Right. So I think there is a benefit to sign the contract, because that's ideally what we want. We want both sides to fulfill the contract as we've always requested. See where they get to, and let's fight the reimbursement fight at some point.
But you're gonna do the talking to Paul, right?
I can do that. I'd be happy to do that.
Try him out, I guess, and see what happens.
But,
Is there a
we're
motion?
approving to sign the contract, not to send out, not to send out checks. There's a difference.
Right. 2 years ago, we signed the contract in January, and we didn't pay it until September. The year-
Because of
Yeah, because we were short-staffed.
the staff issue.
But you've always paid it in full. Is that what I'm getting?
We have always paid it.
I'd be interested to know if we paid a percentage according to what they were getting in the contract, what they would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Here's where a little bit of two-way negotiation would be helpful in this, I think, but it's never been that way. They just send
They
a
sent it
contract.
to us, we signed it.
I'm not terribly concerned about breaking a contract that's already been broken, okay? But right now, we're not even in a contract. So I am a
Is
little
what you're
concerned.
saying,
I am
yeah.
a little concerned about them just pulling completely out,
mm-hmm,
which
We don't want that.
no.
I think I think there's a lot of good that the extension does for the community. That would be a bad situation, I think.
Sure.
Well, obviously, we agree that's where the commissioners gave an extra $20,000 this year.
Right, no, and you guys have gone, I think that needs to be said and explained too, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, on
is
the
there-
advice of our lawyer, I'll move that we sign the contract and see what happens.
Hold payment until the next, a plan is presented.
We'll go by what he's got to say.
Right. We discuss each invoice as they come.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll second Mark's motion.
It's a motion made and seconded that we go ahead and enter into the Purdue Extension contract as it's been presented to us, and hold or discuss each claim as it comes to us before payment. Is there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Thanks, Jeff. And then an issue, last meeting we entered, or we signed an engagement letter with, I lost my train of thought. Blue Accounting Service. That was, Tim, our attorney up in Indy, was using, or wanting to use for assisting him. And once he talked again with them and give them some details, they were not going to be able to perform the duties in a timely manner. They were at least 2 months out, and he said, well, there's no sense in us entering in any agreement with you. So he seeked out another accounting firm, Bradley Associates, which quoted him a much cheaper price in the first place than what Blue did. And we just need to confirm and go ahead and sign that, get that letter signed. Do you have that? Yeah. So instead of Blue, it would be Bradley Associates that has been helping Tim.
I'll move to sign the letter of engagement from Bradley and Associates.
And it'll go to the council as well for their official signature.
I got a copy of that thing here somewhere.
I was gonna say I think I sent it to you.
It was in one of the attachments. Does anyone know why we need this contract with this firm?
We would probably be unable to know. This is giving us a financial snapshot, if you will.
To give you a financial accounting of what they're doing.
Using, if I remember right, they would be using all data that is public. Which I've looked at online for free. I question the reasoning of paying them money to present something that's already available to us for free. And as I understand, our council members have not seen any of this.
I can't speak to that. I don't know that.
Well, I've checked with them. They've received none of the communications that has gone back and forth between Tim Kennedy and you, Gary and Mike. And I think we agreed in principle at the very beginning that everyone was going to be fully informed as we moved along. I'm reluctant to enter into this agreement without a discussion with our council on it.
Discussion with me or Tim?
The county
The
council.
county
Oh,
council.
Okay. Basically, it's no different than what Blue was going to do.
And there again, well, you know, I'm not completely sold on the need for Blue. The calendar's running out on this. And I don't know what effect we can have just by gathering this information. I can't say that I know everything about this. I don't. But are we going to include our council on this discussion or not?
They were included in the conversation in their executive session with Blue.
Well, they haven't seen any of these communications that have been going back.
Maybe I'm nicer than Mike is. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't talked about it with Mike. I did reach out to the council members and asked them if they knew what was going on, and they don't.
And I'm probably very guilty of not checking to see who all is being sent the information. I'm usually reading the information, right? That's something that I will certainly get better at. It would make sense for me, for Jane, to get everything, and I think she's comfortable being in charge of distribution. I don't think there's an issue at all with everybody having the information. I don't.
Certainly not.
The only issue could ever be in that scenario is that if everybody responded, we're gonna get billed like crazy for that, right? So maybe if there's any responses or questions, we leave Mr. Kennedy out of that discussion, right? Because when somebody responds, he's going to read it, and there could be invoices certainly for that.
Sure, we don't want, we made it clear from the beginning, we didn't want that, that's why we.
Goes to you.
Well, that's kind of what I thought the plan was, and I guess I've done a poor job of stressing who all is getting the information to begin with. I've reviewed everything I get to see if there's anything pertinent that is urgent or that needs, but I've probably not realized who's getting it and who's not. But I'll certainly.
I think the three of us have been getting it.
Okay. Is that what's happened? You and Mike and I?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I have went ahead and passed it on to the other two.
Well, then that's kind of, I guess, what I had assumed that was happening, that he was taking care of the Board of Commissioners and that Mike was taking care of the councilmen and women, and that was that.
Well, yeah, I got to see the line of communications last week. And the council members are not seeing anything. Let me ask you this, is there any urgency to this?
Yeah.
Okay, what timeline, do you have a timeline? I don't mind having a special meeting set.
I think from what you're discussing right now, it would make sense to me to have an executive session with the board and the councilmen and women and have a discussion on frustrations of communication and those type of things. I think that makes sense. I would feel better having everybody on board with this and knowing full well what they're doing and why they're doing it before it's done. It's just my personal opinion on this. Well, all you're agreeing is for them to do it for you. If you sign your names, you're not having them agree to do it for the council. The council could still say no.
It's just us individually.
Mm-hmm. This board only.
I've got a feeling they're not going to present anything I haven't already looked at.
Well, that's not the hope.
Yeah,
But what if they do turn up something you don't know about?
Right, correct.
That's the question. You really can't afford to not take the chance.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I would advise you to sign it.
And this is no more than $5,000, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not finding my copy. I mean, it may be in there on the desk.
Sure. I don't have it in front of me, but right here.
This would be a more thorough search of it than what the public statement would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, this is going to give us essentially evaluations. It's going to be able to tell us what potentially could be more profitable and those type of things. It's going to give us a lot of information all at once and be able to actually be able to stomach through this. I think there's absolutely value in it. And I get that we could do our own research and kind of come up with it, but we're not. That's not what our profession is. So a professional that's all they do is always going to be something that's valuable, right?
They're sneakier than we are.
Isn't it safe to assume that there are other parties doing the same thing?
Of course. Of course.
And they're the ones that really matter. They're the ones that really need this.
Potentially, but they're also the ones that I would argue there's nobody that needs it more than the citizens of Fayette County. Because there's nobody that needs this hospital here more than citizens of Fayette County.
Yeah, nobody else cares.
A hospital is just worried about profit. If they come in and buy it, can they make profit or not? Our question's not that exact same, right?
Well, my hesitance and caution is due to the fact that I don't want to run down a rabbit hole with anybody on this thing.
Of course. And there is a chance that we will spend money and obtain good information and not be able to change anything. That's something we've discussed from the very beginning.
But at least we'll know.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a very, very, what you just described is a very, very good possibility.
I can't speak to that.
Yeah,
But
well.
Is your motion still
Yeah.
stands? I'll second that motion. Is there any other questions or discussion?
Is the county council going to be
They have to sign off.
informed on this?
They have to
these
sign off on it
communities?
as well.
Yeah, because each person individually.
Okay, I'll not say anything more.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. I think,
Along those lines, since we're having this discussion, is it appropriate for me to forward all my information to Jane when I receive it? And
Yeah.
allow her to distribute it?
Yep.
Is that what we want to do?
Yep. I do.
I think that would work better than the way we've been doing it.
We've got to make sure we can't have 15 people asking a question, you know what I mean? That would be my only concern.
I will not be sending Tim Kennedy any emails. If I need to know something, need a question answered, I would send it to you.
Very good. I'm throwing
But
myself
do
in
we
front, but
need
you
a-
send me 15 questions. Huh?
Do we need a motion to okay for Jane to have the information, or what do we need?
No, both the board, because some of this, that's the other concern about some of these emails, is it's confidential information, okay? So there is some concern about just email after email being flooded. And you'll see that a lot of the emails say confidential in caps. But Jane is the secretary to both boards, so I think it's appropriate for her to have the information. But we do have an obligation. We've signed a non-disclosure that we can't just release that to everybody, okay?
Yeah.
So on some level, I guess if you're not getting the information, you got to be comfortable that you're not releasing anything. But if you get it, then you have the obligation, obviously, not to tell anyone until we figure things out. It's not our information. I don't want to hear it like that. It's not the county's information we're concealing.
okay. Any other questions on that? Any other old business? We'll move on to new business then. Diana, you have something on public transit today?
I do. I actually have two. The first is permission for Gary to sign the quarterly report. The first quarter of the year, we had 8,234 riders at Fayette County Public Transit, and we will be drawing down $72,966 on claims to the state and federal government.
Is there a motion for signature?
I'll move to approve public transit quarterly claim.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the quarterly claim and allow the president's signature. Is there any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
In the second, I have a resolution, I believe you all received a copy, that requires the president of the commissioner's signature and also the auditor's signature, just giving us permission to apply for the grant, which you gave permission last meeting. I'm just behind. I didn't realize the resolution was still in there, so.
Do we have the resolution?
Bring that?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Along with lots of other paperwork that goes in that file.
Okay.
But the resolution needed an actual number and approval.
Do you have the number?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2, wasn't it, 19R2?
Correct.
19. Is there a motion for the approval of the resolution?
I'll move for approving the resolution.
I'll second the motion to approve authorizing resolution 19R2 for Fayette Community Council on Aging and Aged.
Motion made and seconded to approve the resolution as presented. Is there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Okay.
All right, while you're here, Diana, we have, we will be receiving 2 quotes on engineering firms, from engineering firms. Their third one bowed out, said that they wasn't able to cover. I understand both of them have them ready, but one of them didn't bring it today because I thought that we wasn't going to be ready today.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if we want to have a special meeting before our next regular meeting to look over these quotes so that we can get started on preparing a bid contract. I don't know what, I forget the deadline dates. I think it's July 1st, isn't it?
We have to be under contract with the contractor,
July
July the 1st.
July the 1st. So if we create a timetable, and our next regular meeting is the 7th of May, we approve that engineering firm. Do you have any idea time frame getting that contract proposal put together, and how quickly we would be advertising for bids and so on and so forth?
Probably, that's gonna be cutting us awful tight. If we could have a special session, we could line out the time frame, and I apologize, my brain goes back and forth from the city to the county.
But
Your procedure for that is you bring the bids. How long do you have to advertise those for? Is
They
it
have to be
30?
advertised twice, 7 days apart, and the second one has to be at least 10 days
10
before
days
the
before the meeting.
At least 10 days before the
Yes.
of approval, yeah.
But you have to, I mean, it'd take the contractor
So if we
probably close to 30 days to get back with a.
would
bid
meet
specs.
next Tuesday, then that would still give us before the 1st of May.
Yes, I may
That
not be
would
able
be
to
the
be here.
23rd.
I think I go to NDOT next Tuesday, unless it's late afternoon.
Well, it would have,
Okay,
I'd rather have it late afternoon.
okay.
Would that
When will
work?
the meeting be?
Huh?
When will the meeting be?
Would the 23rd work for everybody to go over quotes from the engineering firms?
What time?
2
That's fine. Yeah.
2:30, 2.
My meeting's
2
at 10
o'clock.
at NDOT.
Okay, 2 o'clock. Would that work for everybody?
Yeah.
It'll be April 22, or April 23.
Yeah,
23rd, 2
a
o'clock.
week from today.
We'll make it work one way or the other.
Okay.
We've got to get this done.
Well, I just don't, I mean, I think we could do it by the 7th, but it would put things right up to the deadline, and
I would prefer the sooner the better,
yeah,
because contractors are gonna get the
start getting
later,
busy.
and then they're not gonna bid.
Yeah. So, Jane, can you advertise a special session for opening quotes, engineering quotes for the community crossing project?
Maybe in jury trial next week, but I don't think I'll be needed at this anyway.
Probably. I mean, I can get you maybe copies of the agreements prior to that, and then you can shoot me an email, shoot Jane an email.
Sure.
If they don't work.
Sure.
Either one of them don't work or do work. Okay. All right, then we'll set a meeting, special session meeting for the 23rd, Tuesday the 23rd, for that purpose. Is that all the discussion we need on community crossing right now?
I believe so.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other new business that needs to come before us? We have John Hillman and Ed, I believe, from the Whitewater Valley Railroad.
I think Ed's got more seniority than me, so I'll get the job.
Don't
Your
tell him what-
lower man.
Don't tell him what I said.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm John Hillman, President of the Whitewater Valley Railroad, and I'm here for our annual request for the use of the parking lots for our Day Out with Thomas event. Just a little background, this will be our 19th year that we've done this, and there's only 35 of these events in the United States and Canada. We're the only one in Indiana, and we were one of the first to have one of these events. Most of the ridership is from out of town. In the first 18 years, we've had about 300,000 people for the event. And the request is almost exactly the same as it has been for every year, with one exception. We've cut one day out of the 6-day event. The first Friday has always been really sluggish, and we just decided to drop the first Friday. It saves us expense, plus it helps on our volunteers. And basically it's the same. The dates have moved, of course, because of the calendar. Another advantage is this year it does not fall on Father's Day. That kind of was a drag on it too. And we've cut back the last train of the day. It just doesn't seem to be worth it anymore. Now, our ridership has dropped over the years, and we came close to dropping the event, but we gave it another chance last year and it picked back up. And this year, the railroad over in Cincinnati, over in Lebanon, dropped their event. Now, probably 10 years ago, we were supposed to be the only one within a certain radius. And I don't want to use the word double cross, but they gave the event to Cincinnati, and that's when our ridership really went down. Now, they gave up their event this year, so we think that this is really going to boost our ridership. A couple of years ago, French Lick also had it, and they dropped it. There was a little bit of ripple effect there, but we're looking at the Cincinnati market, because it's no more than an hour and a half, and if you got kids and want this event, there's none other in the state of Indiana. I think there's one in Ohio, but it's way over in northeast Ohio. And then there's one up in Illinois. But we're the only one, so we wanted to give it another shot this year, and we made a lot of adjustments. So that's what I'm requesting. The map is the update. There's just been very few changes because we changed the tent layout just a little bit. But that's what I'm requesting, so if you got any questions?
I hope your ridership is up this year.
The last 2 years, when you have rain, it kills the walk-up trade. And in this day and age, people wait to see what the weather's going to be. It's just like our Easter egg hunt this coming Saturday. Our numbers are way up because it looks like the weather's going to be good. But there was 2 years in a row where we had complete washouts on 2 of the 6 days. And can't do anything about the weather.
Any other questions for Mr. Hillman?
I see no, it doesn't look any different really to me than it has in the past. I'll move to give Whitewater Valley Railroad officials permission and blessing to close and use the adjacent parking lots of the courthouse, and just like they have in past years.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded for the approval of Whitewater Valley Railroad using our parking lots and facilities, properties. Is there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Thank you very much. Good luck. Good luck. Is there anything else? Anyone else that needs to come before the commissioners today? With that, I'll entertain a motion to pay claims and payroll.
Move to approve claims and payroll.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve payroll and claims as presented to us. Any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. We'll go ahead and sign things that haven't been signed yet. Today's the 16th, isn't it? Can you keep that on file? Thank you. Do you have anything else?
That's it.
Think we're done.
I'll move to adjourn.
A second.
Motion made and seconded that we adjourn the regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes.